play? You don't want to play? You don't want to play with your friend? What do you think about? Hi friends, good morning, how are you? Welcome back to the channel for another vlog. We had a sleepover last night, as you could tell. Our friends just left because we went to Disneyland with them yesterday. It's actually so sweet and so sad. She just got her dream job offer and it's in Salt Lake. So they're moving in a couple weeks, which is really sad. We had a good cry about it, but we're really excited for them. And we had a big friend Disneyland date yesterday for like 12, we were there for 12 hours and it was awesome. We left at 7 a.m. We didn't get back until like 11:30 p.m. because it's a bit of a drive. And so they just stayed over with their dog. And I'm sad about it, I'm not gonna lie. But yesterday was really, really, really fun. And I've never slept harder than after walking 10 miles yesterday. I'm like, if I walked 10 miles every day, I would get the best sleep of my life. Like, you just immediately knock out and sleep. So that was great. Okay, let's head out on an adventure. This feels like I'm taking a little day-long solo trip somewhere far away from home, but let's commence our girl chat, shall we? The foodie and the science side of me are both really, really lighting up right now. Something ironic though is I did start my period literally as soon as we walked through the front gates of Disneyland. Like, we scanned our ticket, we walked through, and I went, oh, I gotta find a bath. Which, you know, wasn't the best timing, but I did know it was coming because I track my cycle now using natural cycles. All that to be said, it's also kind of ironic timing because I was already planning on today's video kind of catching y'all up on my experience getting off birth control. I got off birth control in March, so it's been like a handful of months now, and I've actually been doing little TikToks kind of like week by week for the first little bit, talking about my experiences getting off birth control. The biggest change is the nips are so tender. And then I started tracking my fertility, and I talked about how using natural cycles, it literally predicted the day of my first period in almost 6 years correctly, the exact day. And that TikTok kind of popped off. It got a lot of views, and then Natural Cycles reached out to me and they were like, hey, we would love to offer your viewers a discount code because that video kind of popped off. And now here I am getting to work with them on today's video. Honestly, after I get dressed, I need to paint my nails, so maybe we can just have like a little girl chat about all of those experiences. I had to just close the door because there are literally hummingbirds that were playing, and they were playing so loud that they were like chirping, and it was the cutest noise ever. Like, what a wholesome reason to need to close the door. Anyways, let's commence our girl chat, shall we? As you guys know, I have a lot of different autoimmune things, and I was having really continuous lupus flares all of January, February, March. And it was a stressful period. Like, it was, you know, my wedding and all sorts of things, but I was like, you know, I know hormones affect a lot, and I don't exactly know what all it affects. So as an effort to try to just kind of reset my body, one of the things I wanted to try was getting off of my hormonal birth control. I don't know, I mean, I made a lot of changes, so I can't say specifically what helped my flares go away. I, you know, also slowed down life and, you know, was a little more mindful about my food habits and all sorts of things, but I haven't had a visual flare since March, since getting off my birth control. So that has kind of been what has been encouraging me to stay off of hormonal birth control, but also I'm not trying to have a baby. I'm really not trying to get pregnant until I am 30. That's just kind of always what I've pictured for my life, is living my 20s child-free and then trying to get pregnant in my 30s. So I wanted to do a lot of research to figure out what my options were to be as aware and cautious as possible while also not putting artificial hormones in my body. Just like I said, really as an experiment to see how I felt. And I'll go through all the kind of symptoms of what I felt getting off, but immediately, like literally as soon as I got off of birth control, I signed up for natural cycles. I did a lot of research and I had seen that it was already compatible with my ring. I have the Aura ring and it tracks a lot of metrics, including like your body temperature and your sleep and all sorts of things. And I saw that recently they had integrated with natural cycles to track your fertility. And I heard a lot about cycle tracking using basal body temperature, and there's a lot of ways you can do it. Like with natural cycles in particular, they have a thermometer version, which you like take your thermometer in the morning before you even sit up to check your body temperature. But there's also wearables like Apple Watches, Aura rings, like there's a lot of different ways. And I was like, well, that's really easy. If I already have the ring, I don't have to remember to do any additional steps. I just sync it with the app and then it can start kind of gathering my data and letting me know how that works. So I signed up for that literally the day that I got off of hormonal birth control. And I did not know what to expect in terms of when I would get my first period, because the way that the hormonal birth control that I was on worked, it's the ring. Normally people have it in for 3 weeks, take it out for 1 week, get their period, and then put a new one in. But I was just on continuous. So I was like, hypothetically, people take this out and get their period the week they take it out. But I've been skipping my period for so long. So I was just kind of like on pause, on hold, waiting to see when my first period came. I guess natural cycles started kind of taking note of my temperature and some fluctuations. And then it just like gave me a random day 5 weeks in the future, or like 5 weeks since getting off of the hormonal birth control. And it was like, your first period will start this day. And I was like, okay, but it was right. It literally, the day it told me was the day I got my first period 5 weeks after getting off of hormonal birth control. That's the TikTok that blew up because I was like, I'm actually shook. But it's effective from day one, which is really cool. So this is what my app looks like. You can see that I started my period yesterday, the 23rd. The red days are the days where it's like, hey, if you're trying not to get pregnant, these are the days that are dangerous. So use protection. The little circle that you see on the 9th is the day that I ovulated. So like the days leading up to that are red and the couple days after that are red. I think the longer you use the app and the more information it gets, the fewer red days you'll have, but it's just saying like, in general, be cautious on these days. Green days are the days that I am not fertile. It has been nice to just kind of know when I'm ovulating to be safe. And then also when my period's coming to be prepared, since all of this kind of new to me. I'm kind of relearning it. So that's what that looks like. I'll talk about the physical changes I felt getting off of hormonal birth control. But first, they did give me a promo code, which I mentioned for the app. And like I said, you don't have to have the ring. You could sync it with an Apple Watch, or you could just use the thermometer method. And so it has a lot of different ways that you could use it in your lifestyle. Honestly, like there's so many forms of birth control. Everybody's different. Some people love hormonal, some people don't. So this is just another option if you're also kind of just, you know, on a little bit of a journey like me and looking for something non-hormonal. I've really loved using it and I feel really honored when I've already researched something, paid for it, and been using it, and then they notice and they reach out to me. It feels very just like, is kismet a word? I feel like I'm making that word up. But let me find the code they gave me for y'all. My code is Michel15 at naturalcycles.com, and that gets you 15% off of the annual subscription, which I totally recommend annual because it's cheaper that way. But then they also send you a free thermometer. But some questions about symptoms. These are all my personal experience. Obviously, everybody's different. Everybody has their own hormones, their own bodies, their own methods that they were trying getting off of whatever. So take it all with a grain of salt. The first couple things I noticed were obviously emotions. I felt like my moods were so steady previously. And for the first time, I actually felt like such a change. And I mean, it makes sense. A change in hormones and a change in emotions. So I definitely noticed that I was more emotional. I also noticed that I have put on some water weight getting off of birth control, and I've been told by friends that like that levels out over time. But pros, these are great things that I've noticed. My night sweats went away. I had the worst night sweats previously, and I knew it was probably hormonal because it started around the time that I got on hormonal birth control, and literally immediately my night sweats went away. I've been sleeping so much more comfortably, so that's been amazing. And then also sex drive in general has gone up. I would also say that appetite has kind of changed. Like most of the month I'm hungrier than I used to be, but then the week of my period, my appetite feels like it goes away, which is weird and kind of like counter of what I expected to feel. Oh, I feel like my periods have already become pretty regular, which is great. The cycle is a little bit longer than I remember for me. Like I feel like I've been bleeding for 6 days. And so I'm curious to see if as things kind of level out, if those number of days shorten. But also I'm curious about retesting my hormones after I've been off of hormonal birth control for maybe like 6 months. So maybe in like a month or two, I might test my hormones and just kind of see how I'm doing. I have noticed my skin kind of fluctuates depending on the time of the month, where I was used to my skin pretty much being consistent year round. You know, when I am ovulating, I feel like my skin looks great. And then when I am getting close to my period, I feel like I start having some breakouts, which all of that is pretty textbook as well. So nothing too like unexpected. All in all, I do feel like my health has improved in terms of the way I've been feeling in terms of flares. I feel like I've been way less flary, and I'm not a doctor. I cannot say if there's any hormonal correlation between lupus flares and, you know, manipulating your hormones. I just have noticed that that has been a coincidence for me. If you want to see like week by week, like I said, I have TikToked it. I have it saved as a highlight of, you know, I've been off of it for 5 days. This is how I'm feeling. I've been off of it for 2 weeks. This is how I'm feeling. And just kind of documenting that process because I was curious about how I'd feel. And I was like, maybe this would just be helpful or interesting to someone else. So probably TMI, but essential things when you're a female to think about and consider. Anyways, thank you Natural Cycles for partnering with me on this video. It's been a very cool app, and I'll have my code and the link and all that good stuff down below. But as soon as my nails finish drying, we will make a plan for the day. I have some ideas, I have some thoughts, and I'm looking forward to it. Something I'm kind of curious about doing, you know those donuts that I tried in a recent vlog from the Ecology Center? That is maybe like a 45-minute drive. It's a bit of a drive, but I've heard it's really, really cool. Yet again, I'm still kind of like slowly putting together things for this baby shower. I like to just like kind of, you know, a little bit each week do something if I'm hosting a big event so that I feel like I'm really prepared, or else whenever I host events, I have the same recurring dream that people show up like a month before they're supposed to and I don't have anything ready. The next morning I woke up and I started like, you know, making a bit more of a solid plan. But I don't know, I just kind of feel like maybe there's a couple specialty little snacks that we could have at the shower from the center, because everything is like grown locally and that is very much her vibe. And then I could kind of make a little bit of a food plan around that if I find like a fun local jam or whatever. So I also think that'd just be a fun little kind of like field trip for us to take together. So I'm kind of curious about doing that today. This area that we're going to is kind of like inland of Laguna Beach, so it's a bit of a trek, but I've never been in this area. It's called San Juan something. San Juan Capistrano? Was that a word? It looks cute. I'm really excited to see this. Maybe we can also grab a coffee, walk around the area a bit, just explore. Why not? I love an excuse to explore. Okay, this is actually so much larger than I was expecting. This is the grounds. This is everything that's here. A farm school, farm hub, culinary lab. This is hopefully where we'll be able to pick up some goodies. Kitchen, nursery. There's also maker studios. There's cafes, a wellness dome, fermentation lab. The foodie and the science side of me are both really, really lighting up right now.
actually so exciting. For the longest time, I was looking for finger limes for one of the Michelin Possible videos I was doing, and they were out of season and impossible to find, but they're back, but they're literally so expensive. They're $40 a pound. I wonder if I could just buy a few of them, if that would be allowed to show y'all and to cut open when we get home, because they're so hard to find. Also, I think I've mentioned that the shower is fruit themed, and they make this strawberry vinegar here, so to use this as a salad dressing and then like display the bottle would be like A, cute decor, B, special to her because it's her favorite spot, and C, on theme because it's fruit themed. So I'm gonna get that for sure. Cannot tell at all what this lighting's like, but I'm about to go take this to my car before going back and trying the cafe here. Quick little haul. I found out they get the donuts on Fridays and they go really fast. So I have to come back on a Friday, which is why I was doing all this in advance too, because I've never been here. And then whenever I get them, I'll freeze them. But I tried to get as many things branded from them as possible, but I figured I could use this spice for some sort of recipe. Of course, I mentioned the dressing, so I figured I could put out additional olive oil on the table for whatever we do and do the vinegar and the olive oil together. I thought this could be a prize for one of the games we're playing, like this plus maybe a mug. This is just a rose chai blend. It's a different company, but it's from Portland. I just thought the packaging was cute. And then I think I showed y'all this in the montage, but I found this gluten-free baguette. This is for me. And then I got a couple produce things. These are called donut peaches. I can't wait to go home and try those with y'all. And then the finger limes, of course. So I just bought like 5 or 6 finger limes because they're so expensive. There's some construction happening, so pardon the noise, but they don't have matcha, they did have lattes. So I got an almond milk latte. That was their alternative milk choice. And this is a gluten-free almond and something cake. And like the texture looks insane. Like I touched it with my finger. It is like the most soft, moist. Okay, we gotta try that. Oh my gosh. It's so moist. That's hitting. That's really good. Got some caffeine and was about to head home, but then I was looking at maps and I feel like I'm literally treating today like I am traveling somewhere on a solo trip. I saw there's a harbor nearby, and then I saw there's a store at the harbor called the Vintage Yacht Club, and it's an antique store. Might be a flop. There's no reviews, no website, no phone number, no hours, no photos. But worst case scenario, if it is a flop, we'd still go see some boats, and it's 10 minutes from here.
Off the lawn, 3 steps and I'm gone. I never think about what went wrong.
Quite possibly my dream aesthetic of a store. Everything is vintage and like oceany and sailboaty, and this was $12. It's a print of like cool seaweed.
Thank you so much.
Everything in here is cool. Okay, the shop was so cute. I want my whole house to look like that shop one day. People ask me, like when I am trying to make the house a little less modern, what I mean when I say cottage. And what I mean is like a coastal cottage, not like cottagecore cottage, but just like, you know, shippy things, sailboaty things, like warm historical things that still feel coastal, and then incorporating some of the more like surfy stuff that Jordy loves. His style's very like 70s. And I feel like that shop had a lot of all of that in it. So cool, but things were a little pricey. There were a like wide array of prices, but I just got that one print because it was $12. And the center's cute. I'm kind of just walking around. There's a little dog bakery, but it's closed today, right here. I would have totally got Max a treat to bring home, but I might circle through and then go walk down that way to see boats.
The one we act like we would never own. And I'm not so strong, I'm falling apart. And like the door handle in my old car, my getting fixed will just remain a thought.
The whole drive home I was so excited to do a taste test of a few of these things. A few of the things that are for not the shower. Wow, this doesn't even have egg in it. By the way, with egg, some people have been like, hey, are you allergic to egg? I'm confused because sometimes I see you eat it. Technically, I am not at all to yolk, but blood tests a long time ago said I was to egg whites. I've always eaten a little bit of egg. Like if it was in this bread, I would have gotten it anyways, because it's, you know, probably 1 or 2 eggs for the whole loaf. But lately I've started to kind of just reincorporate a little bit to see how I feel, because I know that that can change. I think they say every 7 years. Don't quote me on that. I don't know how true that is. So I'm curious if I should get retested. Allergy testing is so expensive. I feel like I might be starting to outgrow the egg white allergy. Like when I made the tres leches, that had a lot of egg white and I was totally fine. But I'm gonna toast this and then we could try a donut peach and some finger limes. These are gold. These are gold. I think I'm just gonna bite into it like a donut. Wow, that is so juicy and sweet. The skin is a little tannin-y. Like the skin makes your mouth really dry and is a little tart, but the flesh, it's literally the size of a donut, the shape of a donut. 9 out of 10. Really incredible. And let's cut into one of these. I'll show you what the inside looks like because they're so cool. So when you cut this in half and you squeeze it, little pearls should pop out. You see all those little pearls? They call it also caviar lime. That's another name for it. Finger lime or caviar lime, and it's such a pretty garnish to use on dishes. Look at that. And the flavor is different from a normal lime. It's like way more key limey. I feel like there's some hints of almost vanilla bean, but it's at the same time even more acidic than normal lime. And there's also something a little like floral, almost herbaceous and floral to it too. It's just such a cool fruit. Nature is so cool. I feel like the first time you try a bread, you gotta try it with just butter. Like those are the rules. Just like the first time you try a new coffee shop, you have to just try the regular like latte or coffee before you try any of the fun flavored drinks to get like the understanding of the base of it. But I might also follow this up with some jam, or the yuzu miso from Trader Joe's has been sweet enough to where I've been putting it on things kind of like a jam, and that's been really fun too. That's a good bread. It's so sturdy too, structurally. I have a few hours until Jordy is done teaching lessons for the day, and then I think we're gonna go hang out with some friends at the beach. So my to-do list for the next few hours is reset the upstairs. We had both of our guest rooms being used this week and they're now both empty. And then tidy a few things for myself, maybe do a little bit of laundry, get things in order a tad. Jordy's already done a lot of it for me today, which is very appreciated. And he already went out and ran errands and got us food and water, my favorite water. So thankful for that. And I'm gonna do a little bit more and then review a video, get it uploaded, and respond to some emails before we head out and have fun. So you wanna tidy with me while I listen to a podcast? I've also been very much in my podcast era, so consuming a ton lately. That's been my replacement for TV, and I honestly have preferred it. Let's get some things done.
Packed your bags up, thinking now I messed up. So keep the light on in your dresser empty, but I kept your jacket so I could get your address, so I could send you letters this time next year. City worth the call. Hope you're reaching all your goals and finally saw your brother.
Well, I say, as always, not as always, but as pretty frequent lately, how about we end off the vlog on a little beach sunset. This time, hang with the pals, I think is what we're doing. I wonder what we're doing for dinner. I actually haven't even thought about that. But I want to say thanks again to Natural Cycles for partnering with me on this video. Like I said, it really means so much when I find something for myself and then I use it and then it just happens to like kind of catch fire a little bit on social media, enough for them to notice and then get to work with them. Like The chain of events is pretty rare in the social media world to be able to get a company's attention. And so whenever it does happen, it feels like a little badge of honor. So thank you to them for giving us that promo code Michel15 for 15% off your annual subscription and the free thermometer, which is really nice and cool. So I'll have all that linked down below, along with any other links I can think of, timestamps, you know the drill. I spend a while in my description boxes because I want it to be as resourceful and easy for you guys. So hopefully that's helpful. I love you. I hope you have the best rest of your day. And let's go to the beach.
Is the city where you've come? Hope you're reaching all your goals. You finally saw your brother. Hope you think of me, 'cause I still think of you. So let's call it season. Let's call it see us soon. Let's call